Hi, Desiree. So I'm taking a look at your poster, and I'm liking the colors a lot. I like the idea of the computer screen. I know that you made this in Illustrator, which is really nice. Um, One thing that's kind of, if I push W, one thing that's kind of bothering me maybe are these white spaces. I wonder if you just brought all the shapes together, if that would be less confusing to the eye, because it's really hard to bring out this shape from these pieces when there's all these little white spaces running through them. Um, I can see that you put your headline here over the top of this white box to kind of help it to pop out. And that's a good way of dealing with it. Another thing is if you didn't have some of these white spaces, we potentially get rid of some of these and bring these together maybe a little bit. So you've grouped some of them, but I think it might actually help the design out if everything was just kind of conjoined together. Maybe this would help the computer screen too, and this might actually look good, maybe like white without a stroke on it. There's a black stroke on this, but I can take that off, I think, anyway. And then just still continuing to bring everything, together. And maybe even centering this in the middle with the little box behind it. So we'd have to go into the properties panel and go to arrange and maybe bring forward so that it's above some of the other layers, but we could bring this down to maybe to the top of the TV screen or the computer screen. Bring this up to kind of meet it potentially, and then bring this down maybe. Something like that, I guess, without any white spaces, so that the computer screen pops off a little bit better, maybe. And then one thing you could potentially do is, maybe experiment with, making enough of a spot for your font to live. Let's see. Maybe something like this. I don't know. Something like this. It's not perfect, but and then you could delete this, and you could actually just make the font like a really bold font. One font I really like is Montserrat. The Alternatives is pretty nice. They have a nice black, but the nice thing about Montserrat is it has like thin, extra light, italics, like medium, regular, semi-bold, and then it even has like the unalternative, but just Montserrat, which is a little bit different than the Alternatives, and it's just a big font with a lot of different options, which is nice. Could make this white maybe, and you could even kind of have fun with this text, like maybe, I like how you have it on a slant, but you could change this. You could do a font pair in here. So pair up two fonts that look good together. So maybe like a scripty type font. I'm going to actually add a stroke of white to it and then just make it bigger. Just make this 142 maybe or something. And I don't know, maybe you probably want to tighten up the leading, I guess, up here. You can also do this in the properties panel over here. But I just like to use this up here because I'm in Essentials Classic, and Essentials Classic has this little bar up here that you can use for a lot of the different things. So, I mean, we could potentially, do something like this. Probably have to fix this spot right here so that the computer screen comes out a little bit better, but maybe something a little bit more like that, just so that the white in there was kind of creating some problems. And then study graphic design out of the Big Sky at MSU Northern. I mean, you could maybe put a return here. And then maybe just make this bigger. And maybe make this one smaller, just for like some variation in your text. And then this could be like, I don't know, maybe you could use an italic. Of course, this Arial doesn't have a lot of options, but I mean, if you used Montserrat, or a font with a lot of options, that's the nice thing about Montserrat, is that it just has so many different options that you can use, that you can create these pairs just by choosing different, the same font, but just different. This is an extra light. And choosing graphic design as your career, maybe it could be choose, something like that. And then there needs to be a space in between assistant and professor. So there's just like some refinement issues with this. I think maybe if you had a little bit more time, could have caught some of the errors there. And honestly, this email address should all be on the same line. So I mean, we can just bring this down in size to get everything to fit. There we go. Something maybe a little closer to that would have been a little less confusing to the eye with the little white spaces that you had in there. It just wasn't really working. And then your text, just working a little bit with the size of the text and the type of font that you're using, hopefully has a lot of different options as far as, you know, bold, semi-bold, thin, light. Using a font like that is always a good idea because it gives you lots of different options, and it makes it easier to make the font look good together. Because it's all the same font technically, but it just has little variations that are, you know, going to look nice together. It's easier to create font pairs. So, and using two fonts is always a good idea, so I used the Montserrat alternatives, and then I even used a blackjack here on the word love. You know, you could even put like a stroke on this that's not white. You could use maybe yellow or something, and make it thicker or something, you know, like, I don't know if that really looks good, but you know what I'm saying. You can kind of experiment with your fonts a little bit more. But other than that, with the design, I think it had a lot of potential, and it does look good. I didn't mean to completely redo what you did necessarily, but just showing you what a little bit further refinement would help with that, and getting rid of those kind of white spaces really did help to bring the computer screen out. And then creating the computer screen in like a white color so it pops off of the background helped quite a bit. And then just doing a little bit further work with those fonts can really make a big difference. And making the headline really bold and large on the page is always a good idea. So anyway, if you need help with signing up for spring classes, please just, you know, let me know. I'll probably be reaching out to you anyway. I did try to email you, didn't hear back, so hopefully you can get back to me on spring semester, and we'll talk to you soon.